forget the day we met. Your eyes so blue, me piercing through. I can't forget the day we met. Your smile so bright, it made me swoon. Our love is like a summer's day, hot and endless in a magic way. Whenever I see you, all I can think is my son.
Hey everybody, we want to thank y'all for coming out today for another Horsin' Around School Days at MTRA. This is Jenna Rovera, and I want to introduce y'all to Frankenschnitzel, our newest addition to the MTRA program. And we are going to call him Frankie for short, because Frankenschnitzel is definitely kind of different. Today we are going to continue on from my last lesson about introducing yourself to a horse. And now we're introducing horses to other horses, focusing on safety and observing their communication between horses to assess compatibility and, again, keeping in mind that safety. So through this video, I encourage you guys to really pay attention closely to what the existing MTRA herd horses are doing. Watch their body language and how they're reacting to Frankenschnitzel as we begin introducing him. In looking at the relationships with horses, there's a lot of similarities between herds and families that function similarly. So we have in a healthy human family, we typically provide companionship, safety, and social development through communication and boundaries that are usually set for our children by the adult, parent, or caregiver. And similarly, in herds, they seek out companionship and security or safety in their group of horses that they hang out with, and they get that social development depending on how they interact together. So very, very similar setup. And it's very important for a horse to learn these skills through their formative years from birth to 5 years. Again, that's a very important time for a human baby as well. And you have similarities also with rank or pecking order. Typically in the family, the kids are on the lower end of the leadership. Obviously, the leader or alpha person is going to be the parent or caregiver, again, in a healthy setting. Herds will have a leader or an alpha horse, and then a pecking order down of who's who. So as we introduce Frankie here, you'll see, similar to when I introduced myself to the horses in my last lesson, the horses are introducing themselves by touching noses. They're sniffing, smelling each other, acknowledging who the other one is by their scent. And then you're seeing their ears go forward, they're observing, they're just kind of watching and trying to get a feel and assess what Frankie's all about. In this video, Annie and Spencer are on attention, but they are pretty relaxed and appear to be pretty comfortable with Frankie all in all. As opposed to Goldie and Marshmallow, in this next clip, you'll see a perfect example of a horse response, keeping in mind that they're prey animals with a fight or flight response, and Goldie and Marshmallow have quite a flight reaction going on here. They're still curious, watch them come up, and eventually they kind of come to terms with Frankie, but they certainly have a far more alert response to Frankie than Spencer and Annie had. This response isn't a bad sign, it's just something that this horse is out of their norm and something they're not used to, so until they feel safe and secure, they're not quite sure whether they can just hang out with them yet. And then you see Annie in the corner of this video. She is, on the other hand, still very confident. She is kind of taken on a maternal role is what I think of. She's following over, and I think she's almost a little bit concerned about him and wants to check in on him. So just a different perspective. As Goldie and Marshmallow grow more comfortable after observing, listening, smelling, but especially watching and listening, you'll see that they come back up, they check Frankie out, and then they kind of move on. They're kind of still watching him, but not so alarmed by his presence. One other good sign that you can look for, you'll notice in a couple of the clips as well, that after sniffing and checking out, the horses might start licking and chewing if you watch their mouth area, and that's a positive sign that is showing that they're more relaxed and starting to become more accepting as well. Also, note how Goldie and Marshmallow are really kind of each other's support system. They are investigating together. You see them keep turning heads, and it's almost like they're talking it over amongst themselves. They are each other's security blankets, so they're kind of looking out for each other during this new adventure with Frankie. In the last clip here, you'll see that I don't even take Frankie all the way up to the boys' fence line. They are definitely in flight mode and at high attention. Bubba is the primary one you see, and he's definitely a dominant type of horse, alpha personality, and kind of takes the lead and keeps shooing the boys away from Frankie. So this leads up to why I don't even take Frankie over, and I instead opt to just do walk-up introductions as we get ready to feed. So that's another different option. There's a lot of different theories about how to introduce a horse, ranging from just throwing a new horse into the same paddock and let the horses all sort out their pecking order, to placing them in adjoining paddocks so that maybe they can check each other out, but without actually being in the same space with each other, or leading them around as I'm doing in these videos so they can kind of observe, they can listen, they can smell, and we can watch their reactions and make a determination as to whether we feel like they'll be safe or not together. This can be a gradual process and take as little or as much time as needed. And that's a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed today's lesson, and hopefully we gave you a few ideas for how you might go about introducing your new horse to your already existing herd safely, and hope to see you back next time. Take care.